fans of the internet, I have come once again from the deep darkness as it exists throughout the realm. It is I, the No Man. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's nice to see everybody this morning. I apologize for last week. I was quite a bit under the weather, um, but I'm much better today. And I have news from from the realm of the wasteland, all right, which we call the United States. And so we will begin. I wonder if cat girls should have more than one parent. Now. No. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Because we got a lot to do, a lot of news. Yeah, good mix today. Good mix of news. Of course, we're going to start with the war news. Houthi sea drone badly damages ship in the Red Sea. U.S. destroys the missile launchers. Really? I doubt that. A Greek owned bulk carrier flooded after being badly damaged in a ramming by an unmanned surface vessel launched by Houthi rebels in Yemen, British and American authorities said. The master of the 44,000-ton MV Tudor, reported the vessel was taking on water and not under the control of the crew after being hit in the stern by a 16 to 23-foot craft on Wednesday's attack in the Red Sea, about 66 miles southwest of the port of Hodeidah. The UK's Maritime Trade Board Operations said in a bulletin. Military authorities are assisting. Vessels are advised to transit with caution and report any suspicious activity. The incident came as the U.S. military forces in the regions launched attacks on the Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, destroying 3 anti-ship cruise missile launchers, the U.S. Central Command said in a post on X or Twitter. One uncrewed aerial launch system launched from the Houthi-controlled area of Yemen over the Red Sea was destroyed. CENTCOM strongly condemned the attack. Okay, folks, let me talk about this for a moment. This is getting. You didn't destroy the launchers. They're still there. The people that launched these attacks are still running around. The people that are supporting these attacks and building the equipment for these attacks are still around. Sooner or later, if you want these attacks to stop, there's only one friggin' solution, folks. And sooner or later, you're going to have to live up to it. Nobody likes the fact of what's going to have to happen. Nobody. There's nobody happy with this. But it is what it is. And it's not going to change because we want to wish it away. These people are doing this intentionally. The whole group of them. All the Houthis. Because they don't see a reason to stop it. The reason is, we got to stop. You're hurting maritime trade. Don't you understand that? They don't. That's not a reason to them. You're hurting people and killing people. Once again, that's not a reason to them. That's not a reason for them to stop. You're going to make us mad. What have we done so far? Well, we blow up a couple of your things. You guys going to stop now? Still not a reason, is it? Still not a reason to end it. They both sticks to stick. what it's going to take, folks. You're going to have to get serious. You're going to have to say, you know what? Since you declared war on civilians, all bets are off. And just start carpet bombing the area until they stop. It's what Israel has to do with the Palestinians. You start carpet bombing the area and say, look, until you guys sit up there and understand that Hamas needs to go, you let us know. This is all on you. Just put it out there. Because it's not going to stop any other way. It is not going to stop any other way. Don't believe me? Look at this. France racing to build a giant army camp for Paris Olympic security because we are the East. We are worried about our people over there. They're going to be attacked. No one is worried about. No one in China, Japan are worried about their people being attacked at the Paris Olympics. You know what what they're worried about is these lunatics, all right, launching an attack on the Olympics. And guess where they're from? Very similar region where they're having the other problem. France racing to build giant army camp for Paris Olympic security to house the thousands of soldiers tasked with keeping the Paris Olympics safe. France is building the largest camp its mainland has ever seen since World War II at a breakneck pace. Row upon row of temporary barracks have risen up where fairgrounds in eastern Paris once stood. Green army bunk beds and massive mess halls for 4,500 troops, replacing merry-go-rounds and candy floss. I don't know what the hell candy floss is. All right, construction of the camp, all right, is being held to a record deadline of 65 days, with the first soldiers due to arrive on July 3rd. 13 days later, they will begin guarding the showpiece opening of the ceremony for the 2024 Olympics along a 6-kilometer, 4-mile stretch of the Seine River, the focus of persistent security worries. How about you just go in there and use these 4,500 troops that you plan to use and get rid of the frickin' encampments? All these frickin' migrant encampments that you got sprawled all over. You just put them there. Say, you know what? We're taking over. This is our tent now, and kick them out. Cotton candy, perhaps? I don't know. It could be. The smart thing to do with this would be, everyone's worried about it. Everybody's worried about what happened in the 72 Olympics. Now, you guys might not remember this. I do remember this. This is a big friggin' deal. Where the Palestinians, same group of people, launched an attack specifically targeting, in this case, the Israelis. Now, the reality is that it's not going to be targeting the Israelis per se. Although I'm sure that there will be something along those lines, right? Well, they'll claim that the attack was in retaliation for something the Israelis are doing. These people are a problem. They come up with a frickin' excuse for their behavior time after time after time. Oh, we're attacking the shipping in the Red Sea, which has nothing to do with Israel, and we're doing it because Israel has invaded Rafah. Yeah, that's why we're doing it. This is the problem with these idiots in the Pentagon, in the CIA, okay? And I'm serious about this. Coming to the conclusion that the reason we're having this problem is it's blowback. Yeah, it's blowback. They're mad at us because we did this, and they're mad at us because we did that. No, they're going to be mad at us no matter what we do. They will always find an excuse. It's a 12th century mentality. And you've got to convince these people that a 12th century mentality can't exist anymore. Free wives are probably back in the U.S. What are we talking about? Oh boy, the Dems are terrified of the Supreme Court. When everyone's no one's above the law except for Dems, because the Supreme Court, the law of the land, is going to rule against us. First ruling: Supreme Court rejects bid to restrict access to abortion pill. The court found that the anti-abortion doctors who questioned the FDA's easing of access to the pill did not have legal standing to sue. In a blow for the anti-abortion advocates, the Supreme Court on Thursday rejected a challenge to the abortion pill milprestone. I'm assuming that's how it's pronounced. Milprestone? Meaning the commonly used drug can remain widely available. The court found unanimously that the group of anti-abortion doctors who questions the FDA's, the Food and Drug Administration, all right, its decision making it easier to access the pill, did not have the legal standing to sue. Justice Brett Kavanaugh, writing for the court, wrote that while the plaintiffs have sincere legal, moral, ideological, and policy objections to elective abortion and to the FDA's relaxation regulation of the drug, I'm not going to butcher it anymore, all right, that does not mean they have a federal case. No shit! Okay, with all due respect, these doctors were not being harmed by any of this. So how is it that they had legal standing to sue the federal government? Now, the problem comes back, how do you redress this? Well, you redress it through the legal means. That's why you have elections, morons! Now, personally, I think the FDA's mandates are way out of control. But guess what? This isn't the way to fix it. You're not going to fix it this way. Why? Because the problem isn't, hey, the FDA approved a drug or didn't approve a drug, right? The problem is the FDA exists. And there's only one way to get rid of it. Convention of States, folks. Convention of States. It's the only way you're going to fix these problems. In another Supreme Court ruling, the Supreme Court sides with Starbucks, making it harder for the National Labor Relations Board to win court orders in labor disputes. The Supreme Court on Thursday made it harder for the federal government to win court orders when it suspects a company is interfering in unionization campaigns in a case stemmed from a labor dispute with Starbucks. The justices tightened the standards for when a federal court should issue an order to protect the jobs of workers during a union organizing campaign. The court unanimously rejected a rule that some courts have applied to orders sought by the National Labor Relations Board in favor of a higher threshold sought by Starbucks and pretty much every other freaking business that exists. That must be met in most other fights over court orders or injunctions. The National Labor Relations Board had argued that the or the National Labor Relations Act, a law that governs the agency, has for more than 75 years allowed courts to grant temporary injunctions if they find the requests just and proper. The agency said the law doesn't require it to prove other factors, and it was intended to limit the role of the courts. No, it was intended to expand it. You don't sit up there and go, oh, well, we're going to make it a rule to make it easier to go run to the court, and then come back and try and say something like, oh, well, we're trying to limit the role of the court. What the hell are you talking about? Following the decision, Starbucks said consistent federal standards are important in ensuring. This is one of the problems, folks. How about you start issuing, in order to fix all this, there's only one fix with all this. Convention of States. It's a redress to re-strip the only way you're going to be able to strip power at this point in time from the federal government legally. Remove their abilities. There is absolutely, and I mean this, there's absolutely no reason for a National Labor Relations Board to exist. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. It's there to sit up there and file spurious lawsuit after lawsuit, and then they go, "Well, we're trying to reduce the role of the courts." see how I did that? I want to be able to sue whatever I want, and that'll reduce the role of the court. This is how stupid people have gotten. Speaking of stupid people. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says progressive movement is undermined by anti-Semitism. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat, New York City, said Monday that the progressive movement is undermined by anti-Semitism that is on the rise in the United States. Ocasio-Cortez hosted a discussion with Jewish Council for Public Affairs CEO Amy Spittelnick and Stacy Burdette, a former staffer of the Anti-Defamation League, on Monday to discuss anti-Semitism and the fight for democracy. In her opening remarks, Ocasio-Cortez condemned anti-Semitism and explained why it threatens numerous communities. You're one of the biggest anti-Semites out there, bitch. In fact, the ADL, all right, is one of the biggest promoters of hate in the country. Oh, no. I wouldn't say that they're anti-Semitic. Okay. But as far as being racist and bigots, oh my howdy, you can't find a bigger group of people like that. And the progressive movement is harmed by. Are you kidding me? The progressive the progressive movement relies upon it. It is founded on racism and anti-Semitism. It was founded and still represents the real KKK in this country. The home of modern bigotry and racism you sit on and exemplify. Oh, we're trying to do this. No, what the problem is now is she's starting to see people, all their little games are starting to be outed now. They're starting to come to the fore. People are starting to see it for what it is. That's what Ocasio-Cortez is worried about. Oh my God, people are saying that we're a bunch of racists and bigots. No shit, because you are. You and the Hamas wing out there who can't condemn Hamas. Well, we're going to condemn Israel. Oh, you're going to say that there's an equivalency there? What other choice did Israel have? What were you doing, bitch, to stop Hamas from carrying out their attacks? What have you ever done that sit up there that didn't actually aid Hamas in carrying out these attacks? Everything she's done aids Hamas in carrying out these attacks. Every piece of legislation she has supported. She has never supported making sure that the Hamas does not have these kind of weapons and systems and so forth. Oh, Papa, it's humanitarian aid. We only approved humanitarian aid. Then why were they taking the humanitarian aid and building missiles with it? She's one of the biggest anti-Semites out there. She's made a lot of disgusting comments, and now tries to portray, I'm a victim, because it's just all it is. The perpetual victimness. The perpetual victimhood. And I got a story for you guys. Tara Marine, this is your neck of the woods here. Next story. Hunky Nashville cop is arrested for filming OnlyFans sex video while on duty and in uniform. A policeman has been arrested for appearing in a raunchy OnlyFans skit where he gropes a woman's breast during a fake traffic stop. Sean Herman was fired by the Metro Nashville Police Department on May 9th after he was identified in an OnlyFans video filmed while he was on duty. Because in Nashville, apparently, you have nothing better. Their cops have nothing better to do than to film porn. Oh, we got a porno film made? Okay, stop what you're doing. We're going to arrest this murderer. Not anymore. It's a porno film. We got a porno film starting. You gotta have your priorities ahead. He was arrested and charged on Thursday for this incident, citing felony official misconduct. The ex-officer cover was blown when he accidentally flashed his department patch to the camera, which was visible on his uniform. Police discovered the clip posted by OnlyFans star Jordan titled, apparently I don't get that because this stupid thing just decided to play games with me. I hate it when these pop-ups come up here and do this crap. It really freaking frosts me. See, if you're going to ban something, why don't you ban this crap? Huh? Well, why don't you ban this crap? Meanwhile, back to the average thing. What's considered hunky? He looks like an average dude. Anyway, let's go on to the next story. Former CDC director predicts bird flu pandemic. Former Center for Disease Control and Prevention Director Robert Redfield said he predicts a bird flu pandemic will happen. It's just a matter of when it will be. Redfield joined News Nation Friday to discuss the growing concern for bird flu, as the virus has been detected in dozens of cattle across the country, and the World Health Organization identified the first human death in Mexico. I really think it's very likely that we will at some time. It's not a question of if, it's more a question of when we will have a bird flu pandemic, said Redfield. Why don't you take this Mensa candidate, right, and shove him where the sun don't shine? We know there's going to be a pandemic somewhere. They've been screaming about the bird flu since Bill Clinton was president, folks. That's how long ago. Well, it's only a matter of time. No shit. It's always been a matter of time. It's always been that way. Pandemics are going to happen. No shit, really? Oh my god, this guy is fine. Yeah, Chicken Little here. This is one of the reasons why these people should be freaking fired and never. I wonder how much this jackass was paid to show up on this stupid panel. You know, we panicked over COVID in a way that I didn't believe possible in this nation. I thought people were smarter than that. And I tried to even tell people that this is not the way to do things. Shutting down businesses, all this other crap. I said at the very beginning it was stupid. The only thing that was an actual, an actual thing that was I thought was going to actually do something is when they sit up there and Trump tried to initiate a travel ban. But he should have made a travel ban to the United States from all the other nations, all right, and put it in place immediately, and said, "Look, you're not coming into the country. All international travel is banned right now." And they should have done it for a 4-week period, a full 4-week period, so that people could sit up there at least 2 months. Actually, is what I would have said. I said for the next 2 months, there's no travel back and forth unless you get special permission, and that's how I would have done it. We would not have had the kind of freaking panic that people established going, okay, because we could then watch what was going on around the rest of the world, saw all the dumb shit that they were doing, and said, okay, this is not, number one, as bad as people say it is, and number two is we got to be aware of it, but we can control it. I wonder if we'll get riots this year too. We'll have riots right after the election, one way or another, I think. The man who is hated more than Donald Trump right now, Elon Musk, says he will ban iPhone and other Apple devices. Elon Musk says he will ban Apple devices at his companies if iPhone makers, if Apple, goes forward with its plan to use OpenAI technology on its phones. Apple announced that it would integrate the technology so that when users are speaking to Siri, it will be able to hand off some queries to ChatGPT, OpenAI's large language model. But Mr. Musk said that such an update would be an unacceptable security violation. If Apple integrates OpenAI at the OS level, then Apple devices will be banned at my companies, he wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, all right, the platform he owns. Visitors will have to check their Apple devices at the door, where they will be stored in a Faraday cage, a closed box that stops wireless signals from coming in or out. Musk's ban would presumably affect SpaceX and Tesla in addition to X. Apple said previously that the feature would be released later this year. OpenAI confirmed that its technology would be broadly integrated into the operating system. Okay. So what's the problem here? Says the man who wants to put chips in people's hands. Okay. What's the problem here? I can tell you what the problem is. Siri, like that stupid thing from Amazon, Alexa, they listen all the time. They have to decode what you're saying real time. All right? OpenAI would be listening basically to your conversations all the time the device is powered on. Can't see how that's going to be misused, can you? Can't see how that's going to be misused. From the Wrap. The British invasion. The Brits invade U.S. newsrooms with a killer instinct and Fleet Street ethics. The crisis in American news media has led to an unexpected result in a very short time. The invasion of executive news suites by British editors who experts say bring a killer instinct to news gathering while notably downgrading the diversity quotient in the leadership. Most recently, with the appointment of Will Lewis as the publisher and CEO of the Washington Post, and his latest restructuring plan featuring the appointment of Fleet Street bred editor Robert Winnett. as executive editor after the election, all right, British players are gaining a significant foothold into the U.S. media industry. These latest UK natives arrived just months after a growing list of others. CNN CEO Mark Thompson, Wall Street Journal editor-in-chief Emma Tucker, Bloomberg's news editor-in-chief John Micklethwait, all right, the Daily Beast content chief Jonah Coles, and the outlet's new executive director Hugh Doherty. We're losing our jobs. Learn the code. Learn the code, man. All these newsroom people are getting pissed off because what's happening is they're bringing in people from the UK, all right, because they are trying to do everything they can to continue the woke nonsense. I guarantee you the CEO, Will Lewis of the WAPO, the Compost, all right, has no intention of changing the leftist narrative. They're looking for a way to sound erudite. They're looking for a way to sound like, oh, well, we you have to be above the hoi polloi. You have to take an educated approach and a reasoned approach to how you're presenting the news. Oh, you're not going to lie anymore? No. The lying is going to continue. You got to understand, we're leftists after all. Okay, we don't have open minds, but we just have to sound smarter. Yeah, that will work for the American people. I'm going to say something right now to all my British fans out there who listen in. For the longest time, I heard crap from these idiots right, on the BBC. I've listened to the BBC. Learned from the BBC, and I kept hearing people constantly come back on. But the BBC is not. They're not political. They're not. They're objective. They're not slanted. They are the most. They were so slanted. It was unbelievable. And I was looking at these guys when they're saying, "Oh, they're not slanted." I said, "What are you talking about? There's a slanted leftist freaking group of nonsense that you've ever seen in your life." There's nothing in the BBC that sits up there and finally people started realizing how bad it was, which is why certain people jumped on the bandwagon of, defund the BBC, which comes from Omegon, right? And Omegon's 100% right. Defund the BBC. It's a government organization, and to say that it's not run by leftists, oh my god. But they can't figure out why they're not able to sell this shit in the United States. They're gonna find. We'll find out. Let's head out to my neck of the woods, shall we? Man planned racist mass shooting at Bad Bunny concert to spark a race war, feds say. An Arizona man planned a mass shooting targeting black concert goers in Atlanta in an attempt to spark a race war before the November U.S. presidential election, federal prosecutors said. Mark Adams Prato, a 58-year-old gun show vendor, intended for the violence to unfold at a rap concert at the State Farm Arena on May 14th and May 15th, court documents say. The venue calendar shows Puerto Rican rapper and singer Bad Bunny was the only artist scheduled for those dates. Prato's plan unraveled because he was unaware that the two people he discussed it with, all right, between January and May, were working with the FBI, according to prosecutors. Prieto, who is white, all right, revealed the details of his plot, including how he said he planned to leave Confederate flags after the shooting, with both individual gun shows with both individuals at gun shows in Arizona. An FBI agent wrote in an affidavit in support of a criminal complaint. He was mistaken in believing that they shared his racist belief, prosecutors said. Prieto of Prescott was indicted by a federal grand jury on June 11th on charges of firearms trafficking, transfer of firearm for the use of a hate crime, and possession of an unregistered firearm, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Arizona announced in a news release. Prieto landed on the FBI's radar in October when one of the people working with the agency informed the FBI's Phoenix office that Prieto had expressed a desire to incite a race war before the election, the affidavit says. Over the past 3 years, this individual had made small talk with Prieto at a number of gun shows, according to the affidavit. Within the last year, the person told the FBI that Prieto had began making suspicious and alarming comments, including advocating for a mass shooting and specifically targeting blacks, Jews, or Muslims, the affidavit said. He said Prieto was convinced that martial law will be enforced following the election and that a mass shooting should occur prior to the implementation of martial law, the FBI agent wrote in an affidavit. At a gun show in Phoenix on January 20th, Prieto made small talk with this individual, an undercover FBI agent, the affidavit says. All right, first of all, if all you go by is the veracity of an FBI agent, don't put me on that trial. You better hope you don't pick me for this jury. You better hope I'm not in this jury pool, because if all you have is this guy's statement, is an FBI agent's statement, not good enough. Flat out, not good enough. Not anymore. Not after what you people have done. No one in the FBI, all right, you can be trusted with telling you the truth. Nobody. Sorry. You bring this up if you're on a jury trial and the guy says, well, this agent heard XYZ, you better have a tape of it. You better have been recorded. Because if it wasn't, your word is useless to me. After what they've done, after what they've engaged in. Now, if you go on to this article, because I've read this article pretty thoroughly, what you find is that he was leaving Arizona when they arrested him, and when they went to investigate him, okay, he was in New Mexico with a bunch of his guns, right? And they said they found, when they investigated this, a shotgun that was shorter than it's supposed to be. All right, that's where they talk about registering the firearms. You do not have to register firearms in this country if they're generally legal to own. But having a sawed-off shotgun is one of those things that you need to have a register for. Now, did this guy have a sawed-off shotgun? Don't know. We'll have to see. And I'll be honest with you, you would have to come up with something else aside from, well, see, we defined it as XYZ, because I'm just going to say, okay, that's a misdemeanor, that's not a felony. Don't put me on that jury pool. Just let you know ahead of time. If it was up to me, every weapon would be legal. There's reasons why registration is required on some things. I wouldn't have a problem with that. For example, suppose you had a chemical weapon like sarin. Okay, most people don't know this. They know that sarin is a nerve gas. They know it's a nerve agent, right? And it's deadly in liquid form. What they don't know is sarin is highly caustic. Okay, it is hard. The reason people, when they talk about sarin, it's fairly straightforward to make, but to hold and deploy is very difficult because of how caustic the liquid form is. It's hard to contain. It's easy to make, hard to contain. So in situations like that, I would disagree with you, Mr. Barkley. All right, you would need to register that kind of stuff. Now I realize that that's not what you were referring to, but you have to keep these kinds of things in mind when you use a situation where you said every kind of weapon. Unmasked a hit woman in a hijab. On the run American, whose double life as an assassin for hire was exposed after jammed gun saw her botch a contract killing in Birmingham. These are the first pictures of a seemingly unassuming American tourist whose secret double life as an alleged assassin for hire was exposed after a jammed gun saw her botch a contract killing in Birmingham. Amy Betro, 44, flew from her native Milwaukee to kill a boutique clothing store owner Sikandar Ali on the orders of rival Mohammed Aslam, 56, and his son Mohammed Nazir, 30. A trial in the UK heard how the hitwoman, who worked as an administrator for the Milwaukee Brewers baseball team, all right, disguised herself in a hijab before trying to gun Ali down outside a house in Ocox Green, Birmingham on September 7th, 2019. She fled the scene when her gun jammed, but later returned in a taxi and fired 3 shots at the property before texting their principal target, Ali's father, Aslat Mohammed, "Stop playing hide and seek. Where are you hiding?" Betro, who studied early childhood education at the local college in Milwaukee, flew back to the United States 2 days after the failed contract killing, and today West Midlands police said efforts to find her continue. There is no suggestion Betro stands accused of any other attempted hits. I just, first of all, maybe it's just me, but I have a question. Where'd she get the gun? How did she get a gun through security into Britain in 2019, no less? I'm just curious. Don't you have strict gun laws out there in Britain land? And yet, this woman could throw on a hijab and carry a gun? Just, just curiosity. Oh, you want to see some pictures of her? This turnip head, she's on the run. It should be interesting to see if they can find her. On to the next story. Umpire Pat Hoberg disciplined by Major League Baseball over violation of gambling rules. Umpire Pat Hogan has been suspended over allegations or allegedly violating the league's gambling rules. The Post's John Heyman has confirmed. It's unclear what the discipline was, but Hoberg is appealing the MLB's decision. The Atlantic was the first report on the issue. Hoberg has denied betting on baseball. Major League Baseball said it did not find any evidence that Holberg's games had been compromised. It's going to be one of the problems, folks. You allowed gambling to go into places all over the place. It became ubiquitous. You started joining with these people. Major League Baseball joined, just like Major League Football. NFL football, NBA basketball. They all went in this, and they're all having gambling problems where people are starting to do things like fixing games and price fixing and things like that, or nice price fixing, but point fixing and so forth, point shavings. Yeah, I hate those piercings. Uh, in other news, North Korea sends balloons carrying trash into South Korea again. From Lee Minji from the Yonhap News Service. North Korea is once again sending balloons presumed to be carrying trash to South Korea on Saturdays, Seoul's military said, after it launched nearly 1,000 similar balloons across the border last week. The Joint Chiefs of Staff advised people not to touch the objects and report them to nearby police or military authorities, and cautioned of possible damage from the balloons, adding that the balloons may move southward overnight due to a change in the direction of the wind. Since May 28th, North Korea has sent the trash-loaded balloons across the border to South Korea, which it described as a tit-for-tat response to the anti-Pyongyang leafleting. So basically, it's a propaganda letter campaign. They just came back fine. We'll send you poo. You you send us leaflets. We're gonna send you poo. The North announced it would temporarily suspend the balloon campaign after Seoul warned of unendurable countermeasures, but threatened to send 100 times the amount of toilet paper and filth in response to any further leafletting from the side. We're gonna bombard you with poo. Bet you didn't see that one coming, Mr. Barkley. Bet you that story wasn't one that you heard about. Didn't see that one on CNN. All right, we just got a few more stories here. All right, these are kind of animal interest stories. First one's not an animal interest. Well, it's kind of an animal interest story. Meats and cheeses left dangling from greased pole for nearly a month in Philly. Organizers of a Philadelphia festival that ended nearly a month ago said that they were working on a plan to remove meats and cheeses that were accidentally left dangling from a greased pole. The annual Italian Market Festival is a tradition of dangling, or has a tradition of dangling Italian meats and cheeses from a greased pole for visitors to attempt to climb and claim the prizes. But this year's event left the dangling food items unclaimed. Organizers said a crane was brought in on the last day of the festival to remove the leftover prizes, but weather conditions led to a surge of visitors late in the day that prevented the removal from going forward as planned. The sacks of meat and cheese have been dangling on the pole for nearly a month amid hot and humid temperatures, leading to fears that the food items will rot. The visitors at the site say they have not yet detected any noxious odors. Considering the price of meat nowadays, I'm surprised somebody didn't just cut down the damn bull and grab the meat. Just putting it out there. This is pretty bad. if you got a squeamish stomach, you might want to turn away from this next story. Horrific moment: police ram a runaway cow with patrol car twice on a London street as angry commentators slam forced brutality. Police said the animal was in distress while running around Staines. I don't know how to pronounce it. All right, last night. Right, this is the moment when an escaped cow was ran by a police vehicle twice on the street in West London. Video footage captured an officer's car smashing into the animal, which was strolling down the street late last night, having escaped from its enclosure. After being knocked to the ground, the bovine had barely gotten itself back to its feet when the same car raced forward and rammed it into it again. Okay.
Got him!
So this guy's running from the cow. There's Bessie. Bam! Then Bessie goes flying. Bessie is now in distress. Boom! Now we're gonna ram it again. I have to admit that this is pretty brutal. For those who don't want to missed it the first time, there's Bessie. Boom! Now the cow probably has a broken leg at this point. Okay, I'm not trying to brutalize things too much more. At this point in time, you probably need to you're obviously going to have to put the cow down, right? Did they need to hit the cow that hard? No. How tough would it have been to get people in there to sit up there and stand in front of the cow and move it along? Animals get out all the time. Now, granted, city folk don't know how to take care of these things. I'll be honest with you. But you shouldn't have had to do this with the cow. There's lots of ways you could have sit up there and captured the cow. Get a little rope. Some good old cowboys. Guarantee you there's some somewhere. All right. Could have lassoed the cow, and then that'd have been the end of it. Did you have to ram it? No. Trust me, cows are dumb as rocks. I'm not saying cows are smart, okay? I'm just putting it out there, okay? Reported birth of rare white buffalo calf in Yellowstone Park fulfills Lakota's prophecy. Boy, them some smart Lakota. All right, Helena, Montana. The reported birth of a rare white buffalo in Yellowstone National Park fulfills a Lakota prophecy that portends better times, according to members of the American Indian tribe, who cautioned that it's also a signal that more must be done to protect the earth and its animals. Albinism is known worldwide. I don't think that it was that difficult to predict you were going to get a white bison. The birth of the sacred calf comes after a severe winter in 2023 drove thousands of Yellowstone buffalo, known as bison, to lower elevations. More than 1,500 were killed, sent to a slaughter, or transferred to tribes seeking to reclaim stewardship over the animal as their ancestors lived alongside for millennia. Okay, they hunted these things for millennia. And before the advent of the horse, this return to North America, they would do things like light wildfires to drive herds of these things off of a cliff. Oh, they were just living alongside of them. Don't you understand, no man? They're just living on side. No, they were eating them. Now, I'm not saying that they needed to be killed, all right, and butchered like they were, all right. But don't give me this freaking crap of the proud, Native American. Dun, 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 dun. Look, we are the stewards of the earth. We have lived with one We are one with nature. That had nothing to do with how they were living, folks. It's a farce. Final story of the day. California bear blamed for 5 break-ins in 2 hours. It's a busy bear. Authorities in California said a single bear was responsible for 5 break-ins in a 2-hour period, and one of the homes was occupied at the time. The Sierra Madre Police Department confirmed officers responded Thursday to a northeastern neighborhood where a bear had broken into 4 homes and a garage between 12:30 and 12:15 p.m. One of the homes was occupied at the time of the break-in, but the woman locked herself in a bedroom until the animal left and was not injured, police said. Homeowner Lori Duvalt said her neighbors captured video when the Bruin broke through her screen door. It was a very polite bear. It broke through your screen door and it was very polite. Did it offer you a cookie? Did it say sorry on the way out? Oh, my mistake, wrong house. It was a very polite bear. It just opened up the freezer, took my packaged chicken. All right, the neighbor filmed it with it hanging from its mouth. She said the bear dropped the frozen chicken nearby when the police returned to her. Which police returned to her? I don't think I would be eating the chicken after the bear grabbed it. I'm just put it out there. I just put it out there. Just put it out there. It said, pardon me. Do you have any Grey Poupon or perhaps some frozen chicken for dinner? Hey, food is expensive. All right, folks. That's all I got for today. Hope that you all enjoyed the show. I appreciate y'all coming out, and I'll talk to y'all later. Have fun, everyone. Bye-bye.